Hello, welcome to the Collapse Experiment. This is going to be something a little different today. It is a movie review. Something I can't remember if I've ever done one before, and if I did, it was a long time ago. But it needs to be done because some people out there are just ruining the internet. I don't know how else to put it. I recently watched Bullet Train. This is a movie I saw the previews for. I was excited for it. Finally, after COVID, something that appeared to be decent was coming out and wasn't garbage, wasn't some woke garbage, wasn't made by Marvel or Disney. It wasn't some weird piece of shit that Warner Brothers DC was putting out. Bullet Train, right up my alley, takes place in Japan, has a very, am I going to use this word? Diverse set of characters, but it actually plays well in the movie. And it's not sending a message. So, Bullet Train. I was looking for websites last night. Websites regarding action, specifically like Kung Fu cinema. And lo and behold, of course I find one right away. Has a very large catalog of reviews, something that I was looking for, right? Except one of the last reviews that they did was for Bullet Train, in which they gave it 2 stars. What? so I start scrolling through, and another movie I watched recently with my daughters because it seemed like it was a funny plot, a amusing idea, something that because of all the fancy dresses and everything, a 5 and a 2-year-old would probably enjoy seeing. The Princess. So they had a review for The Princess. It has fight scenes, not necessarily kung fu, but it is an action film, somewhat comedic. 3 stars. 3. And Bullet Train got 2. This is where I sat there and said, what the? So Bullet Train. The plot is a little complex, but as you're watching it all the way through, all the little pieces come together. It's like a puzzle. You're trying to figure out, how does this person fit in? Why is this person on the train? What's up with this backstory? And then, towards the end, somebody is shuffling all the puzzle pieces together, and you get the big picture. And you go, oh, it's one of those movies. There's others that have tried doing it before in the past. Smoking Aces. Garbage! That was one of them. The Losers. The title is totally appropriate because even though it had an all-star cast and a decent plot, the movie just... garbage. Complete garbage. Ooh, there goes a hawk. So yeah, there's a lot of examples of movies like this that have come out in the past where you're just like, what the... okay, like, when is something going to happen here? Then, of course, the climax is just kind of like, I don't know, every generic porno where it's like, you knew the ending was going to be that way, and it just doesn't. You've seen it so many times, just like, eh. So, yeah, Bullet Train. Surprisingly, not a eh. I regarded it, as soon as I finished watching it, I was like, that was probably the best movie I've seen in the last year. Possibly the last 2 years. It definitely quenched my thirst for something that has been lacking. Especially with COVID, you know, movie productions were shut down, and this was actually made during COVID. Now, granted, they did not film it in Tokyo. Most of it was just done in a warehouse under strict conditions to not spread the virus. Yeah, even under all of these circumstances that they found themselves under, they're able to slap this movie together in a very professional, entertaining, cinematic, visually appealing way. Has to do, there's a couple different plot lines, like I said. There's this guy, Ladybug, played by Brad Pitt. And really, honestly, that's the only thing I didn't like about the movie. Why is this guy named Ladybug? They kind of sort of explain it later on, but doesn't really fit. Whatever. So you have him. His job is to steal a briefcase. Simple enough job, right? Except he ends up entwined in the stories of all these other agents, assassins that are on the train. And they tried to sell the movie as if Brad Pitt was a hired assassin, when in reality, he's actually a private investigator. I thought that was a fun fact that really wasn't pointed out. And it kind of fits with like what he's wearing, the way he's acting, how every time something happens, he just equates it to his own bad luck. So yeah, that's Brad Pitt's story. Then you've got Kick-Ass, and I couldn't recall what the other guy was previously in, but I'm pretty sure he's like a well-known black English actor. And Lemon and Tangerine is what they go by in the movie. That's supposed to be their code names. But they have a very amusing story. And in this review, I mentioned beforehand, said that they were annoying, they didn't fit with the plot, and they look like something pulled straight out of a Guy Ritchie film. Fuck you. I like Guy Ritchie. Okay? Yes, he had a very horrible turn of events by marrying Madonna. We understand that. His career in filmmaking went to shit almost immediately after that happened. But I'd like to say he recovered. And you know why I'd like to say that? Because he made Rock'n'Rolla, a movie that unfortunately nobody went out to go see. It had a nice all-star cast. I'm guessing a decent budget. The plot was solid. It was a great film. Had action, comedy, well, yeah, it had romance. But this was Rock'n'Rolla, I would say, is Guy Ritchie going back to if he had made his next movie after Snatch without being married to Madonna. So yeah, not really an insult in my eye if you're saying like, oh, these guys are pulled straight out of a Guy Ritchie film. I appreciated their characters. They added to the plot. They were fun. They were entertaining. You got to learn who they are. This movie actually had complex characters, something you don't see anymore. The fight scenes were pretty damn good. And from my understanding, it's by one of the same teams that put together movies like John Wick and The Nobody and Atomic Blonde, where they take these actors who have absolutely no history in action films or Hong Kong cinema or kung fu flicks. You know, they take these actors and they teach them, they train them to where they really look good on camera. Brad Pitt, not an action hero. Now you want to think, well, yeah, he was in Fight Club and he was in Troy, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. which actually not that bad of a movie. Uh, and but most of all, nobody thinks of Brad Pitt as an action star, kind of like Bob Odenkirk. And Brad Pitt pulls it off. I mean, he does have, as his fight scenes are compared to like Jackie Chan, where it's kind of comedic. There's this funny stuff that happens. He ends up winning the fight, but usually out of some type of fluke or accident that happens. But, you know, it also doesn't take away from the disbelief. Like, how is this dorky private eye stuck on this train trying to steal a briefcase? How does he keep killing these you know, highly paid, notable assassins? Pure dumb luck. So, yeah. Plus, it also, speaking of the princess, one of the characters in the movie is this young girl who thinks that she has the ability to lie to people and outsmart them. Usually it doesn't work. And, you know, the same actress was in The Princess. So suddenly this girl is becoming a new Hollywood sensation. I have no idea who the hell she is. Other than these two movies, I don't think I've ever seen her before. And Harvey Weinstein is out of the picture, so I can only assume that perhaps she earned her way into these movies, as opposed to earning her way, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this girl keeps popping up, brunette, redhead. She seems to just change with the wind. And anyways, her character ends up playing a key role towards the end. There's a lot of things that end up being tied together that is explained. Overall, it's a very deep plot. One would say that you know, the extent of the plot and how things all tie together towards the end is just a little overboard, but I was in the mood for a good action movie. I wanted a good action movie. I wanted something entertaining. You know, I was starting to worry that Brad Pitt was just not going to be making good movies anymore. It was good to see the guy that played Kick-Ass again. The only actor I didn't care for was the dude that played the Russian. It's like, what, the White Death, I think was his name. And I'm like, really? You picked that guy? That fucking guy? The one with the weird boxy face that keeps appearing in all these big budget movies and I can't figure out why? That guy. He's the White Death. Okay. That was my only complaint, and he's only in like 5 minutes of the movie. So, granted, like, anybody could have actually played that role. But looking back, I'm just like, how the hell does this guy keep getting these roles? I don't get it. He was like in the Superman movie. He was in, I believe, the Iceman. I think the Iceman was the only one that I actually cared for him to be in. He plays the mob hitman. But anyways, so yeah, Bullet Train. Maybe it's not 5 stars. The final fight scene where the bullet train is crashing and there's a lot of CGI. But again, I mean, if you're into suspending your disbelief and you're like, wow, this is crazy, it fits the rest of the movie with just how crazy things get. And overall, I think it's just supposed to be entertaining fun. So, yeah, I would say 4.5 stars. That's my take on it. Bullet Train. And why not? Like, what I still can't look back and see like what would have been so unappealing of this movie. One that I was hoping to see in the theaters, but never got the chance. Like, what would be so unappealing about it where you would go and say, 2 stars? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think some people are just getting really picky. But at this point in time, I am just thankful that they're still making movies like this, because it just seems like everything coming out of Hollywood these days seems like it's shit. And this is the first thing that they've put out that wasn't pooped out, if you know what I mean. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix now. It's over 2 hours, but yeah, it's funny, witty, entertaining, action-packed, and it's got a really nice balance to it. It doesn't get boring. So it's not like a Quentin Tarantino movie where it's like 15 minutes of dialogue and for like a 30-second like stab and grab scene. So yeah, that's about it for me. Keep on typing.